These things. All right. You are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Guru's Rant. You are here with me, the Guru, and I'm going to give the information to you live. Thank you for joining me. Again, like I always say, an audience of one is better than an audience of none. And I thank whoever's watching because, you know, again, an audience of one is better than an audience of none. And listen, I'm here to give you information about the show, what's upcoming. I didn't really do a production meeting today. I'm just kind of winging it based on information that I have. And so we'll get right into it. The NBA draft was a couple days away. And listen, it's hard to really judge the talent that's in the NBA or that's coming into the NBA just for the simple fact that a lot of them are coming straight out of high school. A lot of them now do not have to do the 1 year in college to have their apprenticeship into the NBA. So they go on teams like G League Ignite, which I believe, and someone can correct me if I'm wrong. It's a high school talent, which goes up against is basically a high school league team or guys out of high school who play against G League teams. Um, to kind of gauge where they're at. It's a little bit better than going against colleges for the simple fact that everyone in the G League, has above the basketball skill level or comparable to a star in the college game. It just goes to show you what there's levels to this NBA madness. Zach Wilson, he had his first really scripted practice, 7-on-7s and 11-on-11s. And I listen, I heard he did horrible. Um, he overthrew Elijah Moore on one. That's going to happen every now and then. But there were several plays in which, yes, he got passes off, but if it was a real action, the pocket would have been collapsed. And, I wish him much luck. What we have to understand is that, the NFL, everything is a lot faster, And when training camp starts, it's kill to be killed. And I mean that in just a mentality standpoint because, listen, there's only 55 roster spots, I believe, 55 or 53 roster spots. You go into training camp with about 90 to 85 people, and you have to whittle down. Now, you have to know that some of that is politics based on contractual obligations with certain players. Um, but you have guys who are coming in who are just hungry and eager to prove themselves. A lot of these players really couldn't showcase their talent at the college level. I know that sounds crazy, but if you look at half the league, it's filled with low round or undrafted players. It's because they were allowed to blossom when they reached the NFL level. And Zach Wilson has reached the NFL level. He's done so rather surprisingly. But that was his day at training camp, and I'll keep updates regularly now since I believe uh, football, this is Sunday, football will be coming regularly. Uh, it's the 31st. So from here on out, you're going to hear football news every week. There will be no gap in between. I will be working hard for you and bringing you 20 weeks of straight NFL football and predictions. It's probably easy for a lot of people not to listen to uh, people like myself who are just new to the forum, but I can assure you it doesn't matter how big or how small your platform is. If you give the audience what they want, if you're correct, if you're nailing the information the way it's supposed to be nailed and you're right, they will follow you. So even though I don't have an audience right now, I feel like the world is watching. or they will be at some point in time. Okay. Let's go to the Chicago Bears, shall we? Bill Lazor, who's been a long time offensive coordinator. The league swears by him. I don't know that much about him, but I have read that his offenses have not placed well in the ranking categories. They certainly have not been successful with the Chicago Bears and the quarterbacks they had before. And so the question comes, why do you start someone like Andy Dalton when you couldn't get it right with Nick Foles, who, by the way, you had to have some say in that because, they spent money to bring him over instead of Cam Newton, who went to New England for $1 million. Okay. All right. You couldn't get your number 2 overall pick in the draft, your quarterback, Mitchell Trubisky, to master that offense. And now you can blame it on Mitchell all you want. All right. But this is your offense. And I just don't understand how in the world does Justin Fields learn anything on the sideline? And no disrespect to Andy Dalton, who has like a 74-66 record, 5 playoff appearances and no playoff victories. But, it says something for him to get that 5 playoff appearances in Cincinnati, if you know what I know about Cincinnati. He's competent, but what did he do in Dallas to show you that he was worth $10 million? Cam Newton didn't get that kind of money last year. Jameis Winston didn't get that kind of money last year. But so you bring him in and you want to, and Justin Fields is supposed to learn something by sitting behind Andy Dalton and asking him questions like, no. Potentially the best quarterback in the draft, and I don't care what anyone says. A lot of people, they get brainwashed by these mainstream commentators out here to thinking people like Zach Wilson and I'm not going to say anything about Trey Lance. I believe he has the goods. I believe he should have been in the top 3. But my gosh, Justin Fields, if you followed him from high school to college to now, the man has met every challenge. I don't care what you say. And for him to have to sit behind Andy Dalton and try to learn what? Someone's going to lose their job. We know what Andy Dalton is. And back to Bill Lazor. It's going to be frustrating because it just seems like he's trying to justify why Andy Dalton should be in the starting lineup. It just doesn't make any sense at all when you listen to his weekday press conference to the Chicago media, who, by the way, is very knowledgeable about football. You have to keep in mind Chicago is, one of the founding fathers of professional football. And those reporters know what they're looking for. They know the insides and outs. They're a big part of what goes on with the Hallis family and the Bears organization. And to hear him sit up there and explain how anything Justin Fields can learn from Andy Dalton, just mind-boggling to me. I think you start Justin Fields from day one. That's just my take. But everyone wants to believe that somehow, Andy Dalton is bridging the gap. This man fell because he didn't smile that often or what have you. He could play. That's what I do know. And Bill Lazor's been around to a couple. He's never had any success. Look at his track record. All right. It's important to always mention the offensive coordinator in these things because they're the one who's responsible for designing the scheme. A lot of them are in cahoots with the quarterback's coach, right? Because the quarterback has to be able to run the offense. And somehow Andy Dalton is able to, first of all, you gave him $10 million. Why couldn't you give him $2 million? Why do you have to get $10 million? I would have said, hey, we have 3 million for you. Oh, that's not good enough. Oh well, you're Andy Dalton. You either take it or go. But no, they throw 10 racks at him, 10 million racks, and that's to justify Justin Fields, and it's not going to happen. They don't want to look stupid, but they are, and so that's on that topic. Let's jump over to the NBA real quick, shall we? Jonathan Kuminga is his name. The Warriors, Golden State Warriors, new draft pick. He's 6'6". They have him listed as 6'8", but he's 6'6", 210 pounds. He played for the G League Ignite. What would you call the farm system to the NBA? Average 15.8 points a game. He's a guard. He's a 1 or 2. He can, mainly a 2. He can play the 3 if you need him, but I think he's a little small for that right now, just because he's still a young man. But he's aggressive to the basket. He plays defense. I think that's something that I really like. Defense is a lost art in the NBA. Everyone wants to shoot the 3, and everyone's scoring, and everyone's buddies. And it's nice to see someone that'll get up in your face, like a PJ Tucker. That's why PJ Tucker's a champion, and a lot of these guys aren't, because they're buddy trying to find out what each other's trying to do at night. Who they want to party up with. But yes, Jonathan Kuminga, welcome to the Bay Area, and hopefully you have much success. All right, let's go back to the NFL, and let's talk about Carson Wentz, shall we? Now, Philadelphia, again, these are guys who, what they are. You've seen it firsthand, but they're rewarded. And somehow, if it doesn't pan out, well, it wasn't their problem. It had to be someone else's fault. That's the world we live in. That's the world we've always lived in. And so that brings us to Carson Wentz. He has a foot injury, and they say he's out indefinitely. Not a couple weeks, indefinitely. I bet you it's a Liz Frank injury. He's probably going to be out for a significant amount of time. Okay, then you'd be like, oh, well, it's foot injury. He'll come back. No, the man stays hurt. So let's say he stays hurt for the next 2 months. You're supposed to just bring him back out there, and he's supposed to be in rhythm with his players. No way. No way. You get rid of Jacoby Brissett. I don't even know if he's with a team yet. But you go out and sign Brett Hundley, and Jacob Eason is your first string quarterback. You're in trouble, Indianapolis. You are in trouble. Hey, and listen, Philadelphia looked great. They got a player that they paid a lot of money to. The Colts have had to eat a lot of that contract, and they're not going to get much out of it. And even if his foot wasn't hurt, I believe that he was shell-shocked. He was shell-shocked. Like, you don't return from playing. I've never seen a quarterback play as bad as he did and be a franchise quarterback and recover. It's never happened in my lifetime. And I've been watching the NFL 42 years. I've never seen a quarterback perform so horribly and come back from it like it was all a dream. That's what all the people out there who support him. Now, listen, I don't want anything bad happening to him, but that's what people want. They want to act like this is a bad dream, that this guy can still play at elite level. We're just waiting for that switch to turn. As soon as he's completely healthy, Super Bowl, baby. It's not happening. And I think people in Philadelphia are just breathing a sigh of relief right now. They feel bad for him, but they're probably like, oh, thank God. Because he just wasn't reliable. And when he was on the field, he wasn't reliable. You can blame that on anyone you want. I'm telling you, the guy shot. He shot. His ability is completely gone, and no one wants to accept it. Okay? Uh, Jonathan Abrams. Jonathan Abrams, the Las Vegas Raiders. He was in that 2018 draft class. You know, I believe it was him, Clelin Ferrell, and the running back, Josh Jacobs. One out of two of those three first rounders is pretty productive, and that's Josh Jacobs. And listen, he's on the small side. You're only going to be able to run him, but for so much in that offense in between them tackles. And John Gruden likes to run the hell out of his running backs, like he rolled the wheels off a Cadillac. But he was smart this time. He went and got a Kenyon Drake, someone who can, actually who's making a lot more money, and also is very versatile. He can catch out the backfield. He has a lot of things he can do. But back to those draft picks. Ferrell, 10 QB pressures, 2 forced fumbles, 2 sacks. That's just not enough for the number 4 overall pick. And they're going to have a decision to come to after this season on all 3 of those players. You just know that they're not going to pick up a 5th-year option on all 3. I doubt they pick it up on Josh Jacobs, and he's their most productive, Why? Because they want to get all the usage out of running backs and then go get another one. Clelin Ferrell, you were drafted high. Maybe it's the scheme. I believe it has a lot to do with the coaching. Look who your coach is. So, and Abrams, I refuse to think that you're as bad as you are right now. I know PFF rated you the worst. I don't know if that's scheme. I don't know if it's coaching. I know there's a reason that they drafted you in the first round, but I do have to consider who drafted you. I do see a skill set. I do not feel that he's a cover. I don't feel like he's a free safety. I don't feel like he's a strong safety. I feel like if he's in open space, he's in trouble. I don't feel like he can keep up with tight ends, and he definitely can't keep up with receivers. Can he hit? Absolutely. Knock your block off. Does he take bad angles? All the time. Hurts himself, as a matter of fact. But I hope he rebounds, for him and his family. And I hope that Gus Bradley is the answer to Clelin Ferrell and Jonathan Abrams' issues. And we'll see, because I know John Gruden is hoping that Gus Bradley can fix those guys. Because you already got rid of one person that you using as an excuse. You fired him mid-season. Put all the heat on him. If it don't work this time, I'm not going to put the heat on Bradley. Gus Bradley. The heat's going to go on you, Johnny boy, Mr. Blondie. All right. Washington football team. Ron Rivera is beyond frustrated. 70% of the players have one shot. They're ranked near the bottom 3 as far as teams being vaccinated. Brandon Scherf is not vaccinated. He's not going to get vaccinated, and it's not a surprise. He played for Kirk Ferentz, and he's a hillbilly. He's pro-Trumper and all of that. He just happens to be a football player. His coach, and by the way, Scherf has tested positive for COVID at least twice. You have a coach who has autoimmune deficiency. He's had cancer. He's in remission for good, hopefully. And players are not taking that into consideration. They're just thinking of, what their rights are. I think of what Colin Kaepernick's right was. He had the right to take a knee. He had the right to protest. However, there were consequences for that, right? Because people said, no, this is not the place for, we don't have time for that. This is not the place. We're here to work. We're here to do our job. And, we're all a brotherhood. We're all here together, and let's just focus on our jobs. Well, we have another dilemma. It's called the Delta variant, along with the COVID-19, both of those things. And you have people who believe you should take it, and you have people who believe you shouldn't take it, and you have hospitals that are filling up. So I don't know how much of a COVID hoax it is when people are dropping like flies. And I would urge anyone um, who has not taken the virus at all, or who's opposed to taking it, to see what your current hospital ratings are. Because see, most people know people who have passed away from it. I know I have, and I get upset when people say, "Well, that's not what they passed away of." Well, why not? He was 52 years old. Didn't have, he had a little bit of diabetes, but the COVID took him over the hump, right? So a lot of people who are diabetic, they it could just, that's why it's so important to get the shot. I don't know how this is going to work, but the league did a really smart thing. They said, listen, players who want to opt out, you more than welcome to opt out. If Brandon Scherf, if the quarterback for Buffalo, Josh Allen, anybody of DeAndre Hopkins, if those guys, feel indifferent about taking the shot and moving about doing their job in the process, then they can opt out and figure out what they want to do maybe the following year. But I don't want to hear that you don't want to take the shot, but you want to come to work and possibly infect everybody else. Okay, well, you make sure you come through that building and you test negative every day. And I won't have no problem with it. But see, here's the thing. We travel. They're going to have to travel. They're going to travel together. And then, you stay in the hotels. It's airborne. So it's not like he's going to walk around in a bubble. So, or any of them. So I just don't understand how this is going to work. We'll see what happens when, you have to put their feet to the fire. This is a team sport. No one can do it on their own. If he chooses to be disruptive, any of them, then opt out. Opt out. And that's all I have to say on this subject. Okay. Dallas Cowboys. Garrett Gilbert is definitely the backup quarterback. I like the way he performed against Pittsburgh last year. And for the training camp I went to in Oxnard, he looked like the part for sure. Good velocity on his ball. It's taken him a while. I know he's been in the league for a while, but I like his development, and we'll see what happens in the future. That was a stink bug on me. Where'd he come from? Anyway, yeah. So that is it for today. Again, let me tell you about Simone Biles. I'll just say real quick in regards to her stepping away from competition. Listen, you don't want to be doing flips when if you're not into it. You can land on your neck. Snap your bone. Those young ladies are really tough. I don't think people realize the sacrifice and the training that they have to do to be able to do those type of things. And it's a very dangerous sport. Even in practice, one false move and break your neck, anything. So I appreciate her standing up for her truth. and she will be a great mentor and role model for future children. Uh, you know, and she's pretty much got out unscathed without any serious injury physically. So, congratulations to her and all the rest of the ladies who have given their lives to gymnastics amongst all this craziness that has taken place in the sport and the people who were in charge of the sport who let these young ladies down and parents who turned a blind eye when they should have done more and now want to act like they're front and center on everything. So I know it was a little bit of a rant today. My name is Dennis Lindsay. I am your resident guru, and I will be joining you again next week. Again, football has officially cranked up, so you will be getting really, really raw information that's really informative from me. This is not your normal, regular YouTube sports channel. Uh, there are a lot of unique ones. I'm one of them. And again, you will get great predictions. You will get great stories right here. So just stick with me. And I thank you all who come and do the rewatch and take the time out to watch my channel and to listen to me. I know I subscribe to a lot of sports channels and I watch them. And I enjoy them. I don't know these people, but I hear different content and I respect it and I like their opinion. It's different than having one on, like I said, mainstream sports, ESPN, Fox Sports, or what have you. And one day I hope to collaborate with someone on YouTube and maybe join the panel and we can do something with this. But I enjoy having my own content. I hope to grow it. This is the beginning, so I hope everything that I have regarding the show going forward will be up to date. And it'll just be even more fun for me to bring you the sports information. So again, I am the guru, and I'm going to say be safe out there on this lovely Saturday afternoon, and enjoy a good day. Love your pet like I do Buford. Come here, boy. Yeah. Yeah, so just be good out there and, you know, enjoy your sports, enjoy the summer, stay safe, and come back next time on the Guru's Rant. Thank you for watching and have a good day.